Good morning, everybody. I'm Jesse Montano. This is Guerilla Sports Daily. Today's episode is brought to you by Trusted American Mortgage. Go to trustedamerican.com today to see how much money they can save you. Trusted American salary-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payments. Again, go to trustedamerican.com to see just how much money they can save you today. Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Good morning. How's it going, everybody? I looked down for just a second. See? Moves fast. Can't take your guard down for even a minute. Good morning. How's it going? Jesse Montano, Guerilla Sports Daily here. Got Chloe behind the glass this morning. Making sure you guys can see us, hear us. Woo! It's nice to be back. Nice to be back in this seat. I think I talked through it last week that I went like a month without doing the show actually here in the studio. So it's been nice. It's been nice to just be able to be around, be at home, be in the office here, getting ready to head back out on the road Thursday, day after tomorrow, for Avs Sharks. We got a really fun event actually coming up for you guys here in the studio on Thursday. Guerrilla Sports Central, Broncos, Nuggets, Avs, all happening on the same night. So we're actually going to have a multi-hour live event here in the studio where we'll be talking about and breaking down all three games, talking about all three teams, the way that they all fit together here in the landscape of Denver sports. And it's so funny because we've talked for multiple years now. I've been on several different shows and guest spots and things like that, talking about the parallels, the stunning parallels between the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche, not just in the fact that they've got, dueling MVPs, not just in the sense they both won championships, but how similar their trajectory has been in getting to this point and being among the league's perennial contenders. Now, obviously, it's a little bit up and down so far this season for both teams, but we just talked a lot about the way that they both built in the same way, the way that they both grew in the same way, the impact that the coaching staff had on both organizations, all culminating in championships in back-to-back years. Now you look at the Denver Broncos and what they're going through right now, and potentially for the first time in a decade, it feels like the rebuild is actually building and building something up. And it almost feels like you've got the same type of energy surrounding the Denver Broncos as you do surrounding the Colorado Avalanche and Denver Nuggets in terms of the way that they are building up. Sean Payton talked over the weekend about the fact that when you have good management and committed ownership, you can make special things happen, maybe quicker than some expected. And we heard those sentiments from, I remember Joe Sakic talking about the Avs, that the Cronkies had always done them a huge favor and that they hired good people and then they trusted them to do their jobs. Nuggets, you heard a lot of the same things, same ownership, which makes sense. But that, again, committed ownership, quality management with a shared vision. And it feels like that's what you've got with the Denver Broncos for the first time. So we actually thought it'd be a really fun opportunity to bring these three worlds together here and talk about how they all line up and the way that these games are shaking out on Thursday. So we've got a really fun event for you guys here. We'll be pulling sound from the field. I'll be in San Jose. We'll have BK out in Los Angeles, bringing you guys everything there from Broncos Chargers. It's going to be a ton of fun. More details coming, I believe, later this afternoon on what to expect for Thursday. So make sure you're tuning in for that. Got a really fun week ahead. But for right now, we are going to break down what we've seen here in the last 24 hours around the world of sports. And you guys know we are starting local, and we are starting with the Denver Nuggets. Is thrilling the right word for what we saw last night from the Nuggets? 130-129 win over the Sacramento Kings, a team that just always seems to give them problems. Jamal Murray, the hero, late with a late shot to put the Nuggets ahead for good, 130-129. Talk about a roller coaster of a night. So the Nuggets come out and absolutely light things up in the first quarter. They drop 41 points in Sacramento, and you're sitting there going, all right, we're not going to have to go through this typical Nuggets Kings game where the Kings just have their number dialed in. The Nuggets showed up. They came to play. They're going to run away with this one. Well, for all the good it did them to score 41 points in the first, they gave it all right back in the second quarter, giving up 47 points to the Sacramento Kings before halftime. And again, any good that you had done early in that game, you had given it all right back. And you sit there and go, oh no, this is a game against the Kings. Jamal Murray, we have talked a lot about him, both on this show with me and then Liv Moods talks about Jamal Murray a lot, not only because of the max contract that he signed over the summer and the expectations that come with that, but of the caliber of player he has set the expectation that he is an elite player that is a key contributor for this team and was a key component in winning an NBA championship. And he just has not played that way thus far this season at all. And those expectations have never been higher. So we've talked a lot about Jamal Murray and the fact that he needs to be better, not only for this team to function the way that it should, but for him as a player. You've been such a key component to the core of this Nuggets team. And when you're talking about preserving a championship window, you've got to be getting the most out of your core. Well, Jamal Murray showed up last night in a big way. 28 points led the way for the Denver Nuggets, and 15 of those points came in the fourth quarter when the Nuggets needed them the most. They were down 10 points with under 5 minutes to go, 4:55 left. They were down by 10, and Jamal Murray just took it up a level, took it up to the level that has come to be expected of Jamal Murray, and got the Nuggets over the hump. Like I said, hits that shot late to put them in the lead. This was the fourth time this season that the Nuggets have trailed by 10 or more with 6 minutes or less remaining in a game and have found a way to come out on top. This team is never out of it. And that feels a little bit like the hallmark of a team who doesn't quite know who they are. The Denver Nuggets clearly have the talent and the depth to just impose their will whenever they'd like. Whenever they want to step on the gas and take over, they've got the ability to do that between their high-end talent and what you've gotten out of guys like Christian Brown this year. Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. Like, they've got the ability to do this. But they can't bring it every night. And it just feels like the roller coaster ride continues. And that game last night is almost a microcosm of it all. So the encouraging part of what you see last night is that Nikola Jokic, despite a triple-double, really had an average game. He was just okay. He did not save the day for the Nuggets. And they found a way to come out on top. The number one problem the Nuggets have had this year is that when Nikola Jokic is not on the floor, they're not any good. So the fact that he could have an off night, again, triple-double, I know, but the fact that he could have an off night and the Nuggets can still find a way to win an exciting game against a team that they struggle with historically, you've got to be encouraged by that. But again, you want to see a little bit less of the Jekyll and Hyde act here, and don't need to wait till you're down by 10 with 5 minutes to go to kick things on. The Colorado Avalanche are dealing with something a little bit similar. We'll talk about them in just a minute. Let's move on to the Denver Broncos, though. Big win for them on Sunday. And look, this one was a little bit touch and go. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time here because I know my guy Nate Jackson talked a lot about this yesterday, both on daily and then again on off field. We got another off field episode coming up for you guys tomorrow. Was a little bit touch and go. There was a lot of conversation on Twitter as that game was coming out of halftime of, man, the Denver Broncos might have cost themselves the playoffs with this performance. Bo Nix, those 3 interceptions, and really it took the Broncos a long time to settle into that game. Sean Payton talked about the fact that there was execution issues up and down the field from everybody. But they found a way to gut it out, get a win, and keep their playoff hopes alive. Not only keep their playoff hopes alive, but it put themselves in the driver's seat. They got 3 games to go, and you're really more or less 1 win from all but clinching. The Broncos still need a little bit of help from some other teams, but 1 more win is going to make it near, not completely, but near impossible for the Denver Broncos to miss the playoffs. And if you win on Sunday and get some help, if you win on Thursday and then get some help on Sunday, the Broncos are in. But it's not done quite yet. They still got to win 1 more game. I've seen a bunch of people saying they clinched the playoffs. We've had a bunch of conversations suddenly about how this team is a Super Bowl contender and that they can go win. And sure, maybe they can. But hey, let's get them through this Thursday. Let's get a clinch for them. I want to talk about, just briefly, because I do find this stuff interesting, what was considered the turning point in that game for the Denver Broncos, and it was the Jonathan Taylor fumble.
You mentioned that 10-minute window in the game where it kind of broke open. What was the key and the turning point, the one turning point you'd point to in this game?
Well, certainly Benito's play. That runner dropping the ball on the goal line still, that was something. I mean, you go from scoring 7 to the other team, like a turnover.
If one of you guys did the Jonathan Taylor touchdown celebration, let go of the ball, what would the coach's reaction be to that?
I mean, some guys would have more leeway than others. Cortland Sutton would have way more leeway than me, but I think I'd be done for the game. Unless it was special teams or something, offensively, that's it. Coach Payton's real strict about that. He's real strict on turnovers, but yeah, thank goodness that happened for us and not on us.
I probably wouldn't be talking to y'all boys right now, to be honest with you. I think a lot of boys, I think I saw an interview of Coach Prom saying that if one of them boys do that, they might as well keep running because they're not going to be on the team no more. I would not want to have a conversation with Coach Payton after doing something like that. You got to finish through the end zone. That was a really big momentum swing in the game. They had a chance to go up 13, I think, at that point in the game, and I mean that would have been a huge momentum swing for them, and it wound up being a backfire and a momentum swing for us, being able to go out there and find a way to capitalize on what they did. And so I don't even want to imagine what that conversation would be like if one of us would have did that.
Yeah, I think that'll be difficult for the coaches and everyone of his teammates. It'll just be difficult, and I don't get it.
I don't get it either, Sean. I remember the first time I saw this happen 10, 15 years ago, whatever it was. And I remember watching that thing and well, man, nobody will ever make that mistake again. And I feel like every other week I turn on the TV, and between college and the NFL, someone's dropping the ball at the 1-yard line. Now, I was telling someone a couple days ago that I will, Jonathan Taylor, I feel like that one was much closer. He held onto the ball for a little bit longer than we usually see most people do that. But it ended up fully backfiring on him because the ball went out of the end zone, and that led to the turnover. But it's just wild to me that this keeps happening. That guys every week are dropping the ball short of the goal line in the name of celebrating. I don't get it. It was a massive momentum swing in that game, likely cost the Indianapolis Colts the playoffs. And of course, people were talking, I believe even on our own off field yesterday, Jonathan Taylor's fumble is not the reason the Colts are missing the playoffs. Solely, there's plenty of other stuff that you can look at throughout this season that, puts them in the position that they are in, needing to win every game here down the stretch. But when you're in this moment, yeah, that Jonathan Taylor fumble probably cost him the playoffs, because that puts them up by 13 at that point. There's no guarantee that they win that game against the Broncos, but it wasn't just the score impact that it had. It was the momentum swing that we saw in that game as a result of the Jonathan Taylor fumble. And I agree with a lot of the comments there coming out of the Broncos locker room. I don't know how you do that and then walk back into that locker room. Big game coming up on Thursday. We'll have more previewing it tomorrow. Then we will be talking to you guys through it all night on Thursday. Let's move over to the Colorado Avalanche, who did play last night. Mackenzie Blackwood got his second start ever with the Avalanche after coming off a strong performance at home against the Nashville Predators. Stole a win for the Avs at home. Anxious to see what he was going to do yesterday, and Mackenzie Blackwood kept it going. Was solid last night in Vancouver. The Avs, the Skaters, on the other hand, not quite so much. Look, we know that there is some type of virus, flu bug, something like that, traveling through the Avs locker room right now. They got a bunch of guys who are sick, not feeling well. But the effort, the execution that we saw last night, look, I know you're sick, things hurt, all of that, I get it. You got to have a better effort than what we saw for the Colorado Avalanche last night. Like the Denver Nuggets, the ups and downs continue. The long stretches of quality play continue, followed by stretches where they just look out of sorts and out of character. The Avs are looking for some consistency, and it feels like for the first time this season, as we close in on the halfway point, isn't that wild? We're less than 10 games from the halfway mark of the season. But for the first time this season, it feels like you've got some stability and some consistency in net. Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood have come in, and a phrase I like to use is they've poured some cold water on the situation. Everything has just calmed down a little bit. And it's allowed us in the media to turn the attention back on what is happening with the skaters in front of them. Up to this point in the season, a lot of the advanced metrics would suggest that the goaltending has been the primary culprit for the Avs' inconsistent results this season. Alexander Georgiev and Justus Annunen, you never knew what you were going to get from night to night. And on a lot of nights, you weren't getting a whole lot. Again, like I said, there's a lot of advanced metrics and even just regular statistics that you can look at in the early part of this season and say, yeah, the Avs did a lot of things well in that game and couldn't get a save. Well, you're getting saves now, and it's now on the skaters, the players up front, to make the difference and make the impact and start to find that consistency. And now, again, you get a little bit of allowance last night because we know and we understand what the circumstance is in the locker room. But it's also hard because it's well reported the Vancouver Canucks, who beat the Avs 3-1 last night on the back of a Kiefer Sherwood hat trick. Yes, you heard me correctly, a Kiefer Sherwood hat trick. And for some of you out there, like, I don't even know what Kiefer Sherwood means. Correct. Player that played for the Avs organization, was an up and down NHL, AHL player for years, went to Nashville, same thing, up and down. Well, apparently he's in Vancouver, the next coming of Wayne Gretzky. 11 goals on the season so far, 3 last night. Kiefer Sherwood enjoying a career year and underlined it last night against the Avs. But the Vancouver Canucks also dealing with several players battling the flu, battling illness. And you could tell from the first drop of the puck last night that Vancouver was not going to use that as an excuse. They came out, they were all over the Avs. Their effort level was just markedly higher. All night long, the Avs really struggled to get things going. And look, we talked about it on the post game last night. There's going to be nights where Josh Manson used this analogy with me a couple years ago during the Cup run. Some days you wake up and you go for a run and it's a 7-minute mile. Some mornings you wake up and it's 12. Your legs are heavy. You're not feeling it. You can't quite get going to the level you want. That to me was what it looked like for the Avs last night, was that they just didn't have the legs. They just did not have it to dig through or to fight through, dig in, and get their game to that next level. No matter what you do, sometimes you just don't have it. That was what it felt like for the Avs last night. So, okay, we'll say didn't have it last night. You were sick. Now they got to bounce back. Yes, you got 2 bottom feeder teams coming up here on this road trip, San Jose and Anaheim. But it's also a back-to-back. And you got Alexander Georgiev likely going in net for the Sharks on Thursday. You know he's going to be looking to have an impact on that game after you just traded him away last week and said, hey, we don't think that you can lead us to a Stanley Cup as a starter. You know he's going to be playing with a chip on his shoulder big time on Thursday. Then you got to go in on the second night of a back-to-back into Anaheim. So this trip does not get any easier. And a game last night that you were hoping you could win and turn into a bit of a cushion, well, the cushion's gone pretty quickly. Avs got to find some consistency up front. The goaltending has stabilized a bit. Now it is their turn to find some more of that themselves and help out their goaltenders here and give some support to, I have a poll up on my Twitter account right now, what the nickname for this goalie tandem should be. We had 2 suggestions that went into the poll, the Lumberyard or the Woodshed. The Avs got to help out the Lumberyard or the Woodshed, whatever wins. I think it's still got like 10 hours on it. Go vote right now. Let's talk about the Buffs, more particularly Travis Hunter. I almost said Travis Heisman, which I guess that works too, right? Yeah. Travis Hunter wins the Heisman Trophy over the weekend, becomes the second CU Buff to do so. And for the first time ever, the MVP for college football, NBA, and NHL all reside in the same state. Travis Hunter, Nikola Jokic, and Nathan McKinnon, all MVPs in 2024. First time that has ever happened. Ever. Pretty awesome. Colorado sports fans are spoiled with some elite talent right now. It's been well covered. Travis Hunter here in the last couple of days. Talked about it on off field yesterday. You guys seen what's going on with Travis Hunter's fiance and all of this? She was visibly upset at a photo op slash autograph opportunity. Was saying, hey, we want to. Travis Hunter has responded to a lot of the online criticism that his girlfriend or his fiance has been getting. And here's what Travis Hunter said. You're talking about, this is a quote. You're talking about my girl? Go talk about your girl. Go find a girl. Go find a life. Stop worrying about what I got going on. Y'all go do something with your life. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to move on. We're going to go talk about something else because Travis Hunter's got it handled according to his stream. Who am I to judge? Go talk about your own girl. My wife's great. My wife's at home making sourdough right now. I love everything about it. Let's move on. CSU and Utah State suing the Mountain West Conference over the $19 million exit fees that are being levied against the schools as they plan to exit the Mountain West Conference and head to the Pac-12 in 2026. Mountain West Conference has imposed $19 million exit fees, saying that leaving the conference, that is what is required. And they have responded to the lawsuit by saying, quote, the lawsuit filed today by Colorado State and Utah State is an inappropriate attempt to circumvent their clear financial obligations as departing members of the Mountain West. The Mountain West rules pertaining to withdrawal from the conference are longstanding and were developed and codified by the current member institutions, including Colorado State and Utah State. We look forward to responding to the lawsuit to refute several inaccurate assertions included in the filing, end quote. I did think when all of this news was breaking, I did think $19 million was a little bit steep. But look, if this was an agreement that all members signed off on and said, yes, if you're leaving the conference, this is what you've got to pay to make sure that the members remaining in the conference are well taken care of, then that's the rules that everyone agreed to. Of course, we haven't seen the lawsuit. I do wonder a little bit if there is some of this here from Colorado State and Utah State saying, we don't even know if there's going to be a Mountain West Conference when it's all said and done because so many teams are leaving. Both the Pac-12 and the Mountain West need to add more schools in order to keep their accreditation conference ship. I'm not sure what that word is necessarily. But in order to make sure that they can keep that, they have to add more schools in. So that might be the argument that CSU and Utah State are making of, well, why are we going to pay you money when we don't even know if you're going to be here? What is that money going towards? This is going to be an interesting one to see how it plays out. We knew right away that all of this with the Mountain West and the Pac-12 was not going to be clean with so many schools moving from one to the other. And this seems like maybe just the start of potentially more lawsuits and more court dealings like this between now and the start of the 2026 college football season, when these teams are due to make their debut in the Pac-12. We'll be keeping an eye on that. Rounding things out for today, it's 2024, and I guess the Paul brothers are just always in the news now for sports. Somehow this is where we've landed. Logan Paul, not Jake Paul, Logan Paul has reportedly agreed to fight Conor McGregor in a boxing match in India. Conor McGregor then said after that match, he will then pursue his return to the octagon and UFC. There's no details on when this fight's going to happen. Conor McGregor came out this morning and said, I've agreed to the fight and it's happening. That's all the details we've got. We haven't heard anything as of right now, 10:32 a.m. Mountain Time. I have not seen any type of statement from from Logan Paul's camp, anything like that. It's speculated. Maybe that Dana White was hinting at this a couple days ago in a UFC press conference. No confirmation on that. All I know is I'm happy that I am not some lifelong diehard boxing fan, because this really seems to be all it is now. Or at least the biggest fights are just internet celebrities fighting people that used to be at the top of combat sports, and now they're not. So this is happening, I guess, and that's news. Logan Paul, Conor McGregor, we'll see what happens here. That's going to do it for today, guys. Woo! Good start to the day. We got We're the Harrises coming up later this afternoon. We're recording. That'll be out tomorrow. Looking forward to it. But I'm Jesse Montano, Chloe behind the glass. I think Mark's back there as well, hanging out. Make sure you guys can see everything, hear everything. We'll be back at it tomorrow. Jay will be here at the desk. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later. Have a great day.